mini disc. A Philips Fidelio X2. Vocal Spirit Classic.
Beyerdynamic Custom Studio.
Let's do a demo! The Philips Fidelio X2 has finally arrived in Australia, and ever since my brief demo in Hong Kong, I've been looking forward to spending some quality time with it. Priced at 399 Australian dollars, it's a beautifully designed headphone that really demonstrates how Philips is rapidly maturing with its designs. On first impressions, it's an exceptionally comfortable headphone with a nice broad headband. And it sounds fantastic. The key word here is fun. On initial impressions, the X2 is a bombastic sounding headphone with a warm, boosted mid-bass tone and a distinctive lift in the upper mids that makes strings and vocals sound lively. It sounds fast and tight, and I think Philips has nailed it with the crowd-pleasing yet articulate tuning. The X2 is basically like a poppier, more comfortable version of the Sennheiser HD650 with more bass and mids. My one initial criticism would be that the upper mids might be a little bit too forward at times and maybe a little splashy. It's nothing like the thin treble of the Beyerdynamic DT880, however. Now remember that these are only first impressions, but after my brief demo, it's really easy to see why so many of you have asked me to check the X2 out. I'd love to spend even more time with them, but we've got more things to try. Almost done.
You're right. No problem at all.
The Vocal Spirit Classic is another headphone that I first demoed in Hong Kong. The French speaker manufacturer Focal has been dipping their toes into the high-end portable market for some time, with chunky headphone designs that have a nice premium fit and finish. The Spirit Classic is their flagship model with a $599 recommended retail price in Australia, which I think is too high. The Spirit Classic is a mixed-use desktop and portable headphone that folds up into a hemisphere for storage. Now, I don't know if this is because this is a relatively fresh out-of-the-box unit, but I find the Spirit Classic stupidly uncomfortable. The earpads are too dense and small to evenly distribute the headphone's stronger than average clamping pressure, and the headband rests the headphone's 310-gram weight on one point at the top of my skull. Now, I know I'm spoiled by some very comfortable headphones, but the Spirit Classic is probably the least comfortable high-end headphone that I've ever tried. I would never buy it. But I'll listen to it and tell you how it sounds, which is pretty good provided that you like your headphones thick. The Classic is like dark chocolate with a warm lower end that almost seems boomy, though the sub-bass felt tight and fast. Female vocals are rolled off and can sound a bit blunted. It's a nice enough sound, but on initial impression, I can't imagine getting the Focal over the Nadviso HP50, which is almost half the price, more comfortable, and has less mid-bass bloom. And this is why it's so valuable to be able to try headphones before you buy them. Last stop on this listening tour is the Beyerdynamic Custom Studio, which is a monitoring headphone that I've basically heard no buzz about. I've been keen to try it though because I've become more of a Beyer fan over time. The Custom Studio is basically a Custom One Pro that's been tuned for studio monitoring, and it looks almost identical to the original COP besides velour earpads instead of pleather and Beyer's professional style headband. It still has big, roomy, breathable ear cups, but I do find the velour is a bit stiff compared to the plush material on the COP. The Custom Studio also has a heavier coiled cable, making it less suitable for portable use. It's detachable, but there's no straight cable included. The Custom Studio keeps the bass adjustment mechanism from the Custom One Pro, meaning that a user can choose between 4 different levels of bass. It is distinctly less bassy than the Custom One Pro though. Even at the bassiest setting, the Custom Studio only sounds as bassy as your average portable headphone. The Studio is definitely tuned for balance. It has less of an easygoing tone than the Custom One Pro, with less mid-bass and a leaner, drier sound overall. It has more of that typical Beyer sound in the treble, with sharper highs that I think sound more detailed but less gentle. The Custom Studio is not as aggressively lean as something like the Audio-Technica M70X, and thanks to the variable bass mechanism, I think it could easily do double duty as both a monitor and a general listening headphone. Depending on the bass setting, it's probably best compared to the DT770 with less aggressive treble. I quite liked the sound on first impression, especially the tight, controlled sub-bass, but I'd have to do more listening to work out if the $330 retail price seems fair compared to Beyer's other options. So let's wrap up. I am really tempted to pick up a pair of these today because they are fun and they're comfortable, but I am saving this month's Patreon contributions for a review of the Apogee Groove USB DAC/amp. but these are really excellent and, they're worth checking out. So we bid Minidisc goodbye, but not before saying farewell to an old friend. They call me Dr. Worm. Good morning, how are you? I'm Dr. Worm. I'm interested in things.